It's like, oh, this is what we want to build. They described it. I found it funny and helpful. So then we've been building that ever since. And so what Dotting is, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. And the why behind that is I think relationships between humans is essential for overall human happiness. And I think dating apps and social media have just kind of, they haven't helped out whatsoever. So Dotting is trying to rebalance that ecosystem.
The only podcast that it will help you grow personally, professionally, and financially. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, maybe even good evening by the time that you listen to the show. Welcome to the Growth Talk with Glenn. I'm your host. I'm here to ignite your journey towards growth and success. In every episode, we dive deep into the minds of remarkable individuals who are making waves in their fields. Today, I want to introduce you to our guest, Eric McHugh. Eric is a dynamic Web3, RWA, and AI entrepreneur, the president and founder of several innovative ventures, and is a Muay Thai enthusiast and a passionate chess player. Eric, how we doing? I hope I didn't shove that off, man. Is it Muay Thai? How do you say that?
Muay Thai, and I'm doing great. You crushed it. And I love your energy too, dude. You're nice, positive people. I can tell this will be a good conversation.
Welcome, brother. How you doing? Great to have you here. If you don't mind, I'm excited of everything that we're gonna be talking about because I can relate with the stuff that you do. If you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? What is that you do? And who do you help?
Sure. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric, 30 years old, blessed to be living in beautiful Southern California. My hobbies are chess, Muay Thai, reading, anything under the sun, and meditation. I just got back from a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat in Joshua Tree, California. It was a beautiful transformative experience with unlimited benefits. So if that interests you at all, highly recommend you check that out. In terms of business, I believe that everyone has an inner purpose and an outer purpose. I think everyone's inner purpose is the same. It's to raise our own level of consciousness, because if I raise my level of consciousness, it raises those around me, and then they go off in the world, it raises those around them, create a nice little positivity upward spiral. And everyone's outer purpose is, how do my natural God-given gifts translate into something that can serve other people? Because God, the universe, the creator, whatever you want to call him, he's given everyone individual gifts. Like he's given me gifts. So Glenn, I'm the number one me in the world. If you try to be me, you can't be me. But on the flip side, if I try to be you, I can't be you. So if I'm happy to serving other people, the best way to serve other people at scale, or the only way actually, is to follow my natural gifts, because that's what I'm curious about. That's what I actually give a shit about. And then this just happened to result in two different companies for me. The first is Shopex. It's a Web3 e-commerce platform, and Dotting, which is the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service.
Wow. That is crazy. Eric, now that you mentioned the companies that you started, right, that you follow your gifts, can you share about your background and what initially inspired you to pursue a career in Web3, RWA, and the AI entrepreneurship?
Yeah, sure. So I'm happy to. So in terms of background, obviously I went to college at a good school. I went to the University of California, Irvine. At that point in time, I've always had good internships. So I interned in Washington, D.C. as a consultant, as well as in Barcelona as a project manager. And after college, just like, okay, well, I have to get a job. And then for me, the opportunity that found itself was Snapchat.
Yeah.
The reason I chose Snap, it was at Snap helping craft their ad algorithm. And the reason I chose Snap Inc. specifically is because the location was pretty sweet. It's on Venice Beach, and they didn't have one large campus. They bought a bunch of different like houses and warehouses. So you'd walk around different work pods, which honestly is pretty cool. And the second reason I chose Snap was, you could learn a lot, but it was right before their IPO. So I wanted to see what it was like just being around a company going through that type of energy. Then after that, I got a job as a bankruptcy consultant, which is essentially helping companies go through the bankruptcy process. And during that point in time, that's when I got hit by the Bitcoin bug, meaning I was just researching it madly. It was taking up all my mind space. And the ethos of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency didn't align with the consulting ethos. And the reason is the structure of the consulting firm. So as a consultant, your clients are a company going through the bankruptcy process. So AKA they don't have any money. So the money you're charging them is taking them from a pool, which should go to the normal everyday creditors who are owed money. So we're taking and again, it's nothing the firm did wrong. Like they're nice, talented, smart people. It's just simply a structural thing where it's like, it is what it is, but that didn't align with Bitcoin. So I quit my consulting job. I'm like, okay, I'm working cryptocurrency. Started to go to cryptocurrency meetups in my local area. Met the original Shopex team at one of those meetups. And we also started another SaaS platform called Carve that replaced affiliate codes. And the cool thing is about that is I got VC funded at one of the top incubators in the world. So at a young age, I was surrounded by different companies, different C-level executives at early stage startups. Like the startup Nexus was Liquid Death. So there's a bunch of people, different types of startups in different industries at different levels in terms of revenue. So I networked my way across. I had lunch with as many people as I could just to pick their brains. Like, yeah, what worked for you? What didn't work for you? So obviously that's a invaluable learning experience at a young age. So that helped with two different companies. And that led to pretty much what I'm doing now at Shopex and Dotting. So my why behind Shopex is I would like to live a nice, peaceful life. I felt that's hard to do if the money system was corrupt. That led me to find physical gold and physical silver as a potential solution to that. Bitcoin is the next logical step from that. Maybe we'll see, only time will tell. And then Shopex is a way for me to onboard people through RWAs and e-commerce benefits at scale. So we offer Web2 brands incentives to offer their customers incentives to enter this space. And the second company, Dotting, again, everything is related in your careers. Everything's related to everything. But the way we found Dotting is I was on a crypto podcast tour a while back. I went on this one podcast called The Crypto Economy. It's run by a dude named Mark. We became friends after we stayed in touch. And then this random AI looking thing started following me on Twitter. I'm like, oh, what is this? He's like, oh, this is what we want to build. They described it. I found it funny and helpful. So then we've been building that ever since. And so what Dotting is, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. And the why behind that is I think relationships between humans is essential for overall human happiness. And I think dating apps and social media have just they haven't helped out whatsoever. So Dotting is trying to rebalance that ecosystem.
That's amazing. And that happens all automatically. That's the whole purpose. You enter your data and based on who you are as a person, it will match you with somebody like that. How would that work?
Yeah, so the cool thing is you don't enter anything. So what we do is we because I don't know if you're on dating apps, but filling out those profiles kind of suck. And you can lie too. But so what happens is with Dotting, it'll auto generate you a profile based on your digital footprint, so your social media, and then it'll create matches based on other people's digital footprints. So for example, I could get 3 matches a day. Let's say Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. Okay, tell me more about Jane. Okay, she connected to her Facebook. She's the youngest in her family. You're the oldest. Our pattern recognition software says that works well. She connected to LinkedIn. Okay, you both went to similar school, similar major, similar career path. Maybe that's a match. Oh, she connected her Instagram. You both tag each other both tag at a bunch of national parks. Match. Oh, she connected her Pinterest. Okay, or she connected her Pinterest. It's okay, you both follow the same things, you both pin the same things. Great, match. She connected her Spotify. Oh, did you know you both follow this one obscure artist who has a concert coming up in a month? Would you like me to suggest a date with Jane? At that point, it's suggested a date with Jane. She sees my digital footprint, which makes it more comfortable for her because it's more difficult for a female to meet a male, a stranger online. So she's like, okay, not a serial killer. We have this many mutual friends. Let me go on a date with Eric. We go on that date, we fall in love, get married, and then it can act as a relationship butler. So it can be okay, you guys haven't been on a date in 3 months. The place you had your third date has half off ice cream. Would you like me to plan that date? Or it's oh, her birthday's coming up. You don't want to miss this. She just added this thing to her Pinterest board. This might make a good gift. And the cool thing about this is Dotting is just the beginning. So it's a way to build communities too. So I could yo, find me 5 people in my local area who are into Muay Thai who would like to have tacos. They can find me those people. Or let's say we meet in real life in person.
Hmm.
We'll be able to tap our phones, and if we're both Dotting members, we both connect to our social media. It can find what me and you have in common, and then it can suggest like a hangout type thing. So I think that's a cool feature as well. So that'll be cool going forward.
That's awesome. How far away you guys are with finishing the software?
So we're on the wait list. We're on our wait list. We're on the wait list version right now. The reason we're on the wait list is for two reasons. A, we need actual real data to train the software to train the matchmaking because it's one of those things that's going to get better and better over time. Like the more you use and it's the opposite of Tinder where it's like the more you're on Tinder, the longer you'll be on Tinder, but the more you use our software, the more it'll know you and the better it can match you. And the more people use that, the better it can match more people. So we're training our AI as well as we're waiting for like the actual app approvals from Apple and Android, which can take a while. So like you kind of need App Live, so we're in that process. And then from there, we're going to go city by city. So we're starting with Los Angeles and then probably either San Fran, New York, or Vegas, or Austin as our next city and just kind of follow the Uber method.
I love that. Follow the Uber method. Repeat successful actions.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah,
I
like Russia. Like I know we know exactly what they did, so it's like,
I
well,
love that.
why not
Make
copy?
your shortcut.
Yeah, like no, like everything. And that's one of my favorite things about Web3. And so Web3 runs on a principle of composability, which means that everyone builds off of each other. So like you only solve a problem once and then people build off a solution, which essentially means everyone's just copying and pasting each other's code. Because like if someone's like, why would you like they built something that works? Why would you not build on top of it and optimize it for your own needs? It doesn't make any sense to do it other ways. Because like again in startup and like well, I used to think time is the most valuable resource, but now I think energy is the most valuable resource. But either way, if it's already done, why would you waste the time and
Really,
energy when you have other stuff to do?
I love that. You mentioned something within your career, mantra and motto, right? Like your mantra and motto are quite intriguing. So how have these guiding principles influenced your personal and professional life?
Yeah, so for professional and personal life, I would say it's really helped my relationships. Like I won't enter any relationship unless it's powerful. And by powerful, I mean I won't enter a relationship where both parties don't win. Because
Mm.
if you enter a relationship where both parties don't win, one party loses, one party wins, it's unsustainable because eventually the losing party is eventually like, I've had enough, so it's pointless in the end. Plus, if you're on the winning side, you get bad karma anyways. But in terms of like, because the mantra is I do what I feel like and I believe anything is possible for me. I truly believe I believe in manifestation. I think your thoughts create your reality. So I think where your attention goes, your energy flows. So
Absolutely.
if I think anything is possible for me, anything is possible for me. And I do what I feel like goes back to the thing of authenticity, where it's like if I'm doing what I feel like, if I'm being authentic to myself, the quality of the product is going to be much better than if it isn't. So it's like if like you just like you have to do this type of work, it's like I don't know how to do it. You kind of half-ass it, but if it's something you truly feel like doing, then you're doing a great job, and that's important to do it. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not like for example, I'm not the big fan of doing spreadsheets. It's like no, I don't feel like doing a spreadsheet. I don't feel like tracking this. It's not that at all. Because if I'm like, teams, I'm not doing a spreadsheet because I still don't feel like they'll be like, WTF, dude, we gotta need to do this. It's like, no, because it aligns with inner purpose. So I feel like doing that. But if it's like, I don't, if we're going a company direction that doesn't like align with me, that's more so what I mean by that.
I love that. I love that. So your intention is to spread positivity and raise collective consciousness. Is part of your mission. Is that correct?
Correct. And again, this helps everyone. This helps me. This helps you. It helps everyone around us. And the cool thing is, I think as a collective human consciousness, we are raising that level. So I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So there's a chart you can follow. So like when you say you're sad, when you say you're happy, when you're saying you're loving, when you're saying you're joyful, what you're saying is you're saying, I vibrate at a certain frequency. And just like a radio station, if you turn to a specific frequency on that radio station, that you get that radio station. So shame is the lowest you can feel. Anger, whatever, pride, hate, those are lower level emotions. So if you're feeling anger, hate, or pride, let's say you're feeling angry all the time, you're vibrating at the anger frequency. That's why you always attract angry people and you stay in that anger frequency. But
Wow.
if you're vibrating like a loving, I want to help people, I want everyone to do the best frequency, you're vibrating at that frequency, you attract those people in your life, which honestly, dude, it's like it's much better for business too. Because like if I go into every conversation like, oh, I want you to do well, I want to help you, how can I help? They can pick up on that subconsciously, And then they would help me too. Like, what's easier to network
Wow.
when you're both trying to like, I want something out of you, or it's like, oh, no, we're both trying to help each other. What ends better for business?
What would be like some of the daily like some daily principles that you incorporate for positivity, right? In order to stay on that frequency and the high frequency of positivity, sharing, helping others. What are those a few things that you do on a daily basis to stay there into that frequency?
Yeah, so one of the best things I do is actually right here. So it's a journal. So I think one of the most abundant frequencies you can be in is like gratitude. So whenever you're thankful, it shows abundance, and the universe rewards abundance by giving you more abundance. So right when I wake up, I write three things I'm grateful for. So it'd be like something simple. It's like, okay, I have water. My legs work because not everyone has working water. Not everyone's legs work. So I start off the day in gratitude. And then even before this podcast, like for example, so before any podcast, before any business call or whatever, I write, I am thankful that I get to go, I'm grateful that I get to go on this podcast. And that puts me in the mindset of, okay, I'm grateful that I go on this podcast. And obviously it's going to go much better for just like, if I do this, like, I have to go on this call, then it doesn't go well. But I feel like I'm grateful to go on this call. It goes very well. So I do that before every business call. So I wake up, I have a daily meditation practice. That's stuck with me from the meditation retreat. So I wake up at 4:20 because I find that funny. I meditate. I meditate for a bit to set my attention for the day. So that's when I kind of clear my thoughts. I'm like, okay, well, my calls are going to go well. Everything's going to go well. We're going to help some people. The tech is going to work. And I think in the quantum field, and I believe like in this present moment, there's the infinite number of possibilities. Like everything that could possibly happen is happening. And what's happening is what we're putting our attention on. So if I'm putting my attention on good stuff happens. But if you put your attention on negative stuff happens. So I put my attention on good stuff in the morning. Right after that, I do some like community work, go to the gym. I always go to the gym, always sauna because health is very important. You can't serve people if you're out of shape, if you're not feeling good because your body's a temple. So you gotta take care of that. And then during my day with two companies, it's just like who knows what's going on. So like I kind of live by the calendar. I'm on this podcast, but I may be like I'm not. I may go on like a dating one. I may go on a Shopex one. I may have like an engineering meeting or a marketing meeting. So like whatever happens during the day. And I like to close the day with Muay Thai because that brings me back to the present moment. Because if I bring my problems from work or opportunities from work into Muay Thai, I can't probably hold the mitts. I usually end up getting hit, which is kind of annoying. So it makes me really focus on that. Plus, it's very tiring, good physical activities, and it's good people there too. Like the people who I found that the people who train martial arts are at their core good people. Everyone's there just trying to get better. No one's talking about work. I don't even know some of the people's names, but the whole purpose is like, yes, you're trying to hit each other, but it's to help them. So it's like, yeah, I'll hit you. Like if we were sparring, it's like I would do one thing, it works on you. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it again until you eventually learn how to block it, and then that's better for you.
Hmm. I got my son does he's on ATA, he does Taekwondo. So I see what she's saying that when we go there, even though that I'm a parent, I'm just watching, but I see the senseis, right? I see the teachers in the dojo, and it's all like we're here to work, like we're here to honor, right? We're here to get busy, learn, discipline. Like you say, we hit each other, but it's to help each other, and I love the fact that it's almost like it is an art, but it's not for using for abusing. It's just something
No.
that you know personal. So if anything ever happens, the training will kick in. Eric, let me ask you this: in this journey that you've been having as an entrepreneur, what has been like the hardest challenge that you might have, and you overcame it?
Yeah, so first off, it's the verbiage thing. So as an entrepreneur, so I don't even view everything as a challenge. I view everything as an opportunity that's waiting to happen. So like that initial mindset, and the reason that's been so helpful is because as an entrepreneur, like having that positive mindset, it sounds like BSy, but it really is important because if as an entrepreneur, most of the times, most things aren't going to be working and stuff out of your control. So like if 9 out of 10, like it's like you try 9 things, it doesn't work. You try the 10th thing, it works. You're all happy. It works for 3 days and it kind of stops working. You're like, oh, what WTF? And you have to figure out why it didn't work and then quickly adapt. So if you're focusing on the negative all the time, then more negatives going to come. But if you focus on the positive, you can find a solution much quicker. And for me, so that's been that's been the most helpful thing is just focusing on the positive because you just have to keep trucking forward. You have to keep going. Um, in direct business terms, the two most difficult things for me and two lessons I've learned is one company we accepted money from the wrong venture capital firm, which causes a lot of tension. And as an entrepreneurship, I think that's really important and understated because like imagine you haven't been paid for a while, you're trying to fundraise, someone offers you a check, you're just like, oh sweet, proof of concept money, I can actually pay some bills now, great. But if the firm doesn't align with you, they're not a partner, they don't align with your vision, it's not like they're bad people and they just simply don't align. They'll put pressure to do something you don't want to do, and you have to say no, and then that creates a divide. Whereas if you find someone who's completely in line with you, you're more like a team. And as a startup, like you have to find like the right investors too. So that's been a challenge. And the biggest challenge for both of Shopex and Dotting is actually the same challenge. It's like on the back end, some crazy tech is going on, but we have to simplify it for the user, but they don't even know anything's happening.
I love that. This is huge. You say I don't see challenges as challenges. I see them as opportunities. That's a
Yes.
great mindset, great way to see it. Throw any challenge to me, man. It's an opportunity for me to crush that challenge.
Yeah, and that's the way I view it's an opportunity to learn. Because
Yes.
because you can set your own parameters of victory. And if you like, let's say, for example, let's use our podcast, for example, it's like, okay, well, I have to be metrics based on this podcast. If
Uh-huh.
this podcast doesn't hit 1 million views, it's not a W. So then that puts a lot of expectations on this podcast. It makes it needy. It prevents but if I set up like, okay, maybe if I have a good conversation, I learn something, that's the W. Because I'm going to learn I know for a fact I'm going to learn something from you. So like,
Yeah.
if I go and I learn something, that's a win. And then and then it's funny because then the podcast is more likely to get them 1 million views
Yes.
because it's more authentic.
Yes.
So
100%. When we were talking in the past, I noticed something that you mentioned about Tesla wisdom, right? You quoted Nikola Tesla about energy, frequency, and vibration. How do you apply this concept to your daily life and business practices?
yeah, no, it's the core. So when I mentioned the energy, frequency, and vibrational charts, like like one of my inner purpose is to raise my own level of consciousness, which is to raise my own level of vibration. So as you rise, because again, like each emotion has a different chart. Like if you're below 200, that's when because we both know I think energy is contagious. Like positive people, like when you have a like this one actually, but like when you talk to someone positive, you leave the conversation kind of energized. It's pleasant and nice. But if you talk with someone negative, you feel drained. It's not even anything they said, but just kind of like, eh. So so like everything I do, it's like the people I interact, the social media content I consume, the food I eat. It's like, does this raise my own level of consciousness? Do I feel energized after this conversation with people? Do I feel energized after I have this food? Do I feel energized after I consume this type of content? If it raises my vibe, it stays in. If it doesn't raise my vibe, you have to learn to let it go.
When you say you have to let it go, what are those things that in the past you say, okay, like I have to let this thing go? How can you be so aware, like speed like that, and be like, okay, this I'm not gonna allow this into my life. I gotta let it go. What have been some of those things?
Yeah, so gut intuition is like, because you have a feeling it's like, okay, this is kind of holding me down. And it's not like letting go in a bad way. It's always just like, I wish you the best. Like, I wish you the best on your journey. It just doesn't work for me right now. And again, that's better for both people too, because if someone's weighing you down, you can't be your best. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help the collective. Mainly, it's just the main thing I've learned to let go is friends, girlfriends, and habits. Because like if a habit doesn't serve you, like let it go. Like for example, the habit the biggest one I've learned is honestly might be a little X-rated, but like porn is like a habit for everyone. And then like with that a while ago, one of the best things ever, cutting back on drinking, cutting back on recreational drugs, cutting back on social media. So for example, I was on social media like a while back. I was like, okay, well, Instagram, let me scroll my Instagram feed. How much of this adds value to my life?
Mm,
Turns out it was pretty much zero. Like I was going through reels. So what I did is I put chess.com next to Instagram and next to Twitter. So because I've been trained to get that dopamine hit from Instagram just due to my age and like, yeah, because having my phone the whole pretty much since, well, actually I was a good age where I still got middle school phone list. So like I was outside and stuff, but like high school, like I had my phone, I had Instagram, all that stuff. So like whenever I had that urge to get that dopamine hit from Instagram, chess.com is right there. I break out a couple of games of chess with some strangers, and that's just like a much better way to do that. And again, because like I'm going to go to Instagram. It's like, I don't want to. Like I don't want to, because it's a lot of energy to refuse us. Like imagine me like the whole day sitting there's like I'm gonna watch no reels, I'm gonna watch no reels, I'm gonna watch no reels. That's a draining in
So much.
itself. Yeah, but if I have an outlet, that's a productive outlet.
I love that. And playing chess is good for your money.
Oh yeah, no, like it helps your strategy. Chess and Muay Thai are the same thing. Like because no, like one of the most important lessons I've learned from chess too, that's followed me my whole life, is in chess you have to focus on the present move. I mean, you have to have like an awareness of what's going on in the future, but like you may have screwed up the last move. You may have made the best move you've ever made in the last move, but there's always a best move you can make right now.
Mm.
And your best move is to make the best move you can possibly make right now. And your best move after that is in your next move to make the best move right and that moment and then that moment. And if you keep making the best possible move you can make, even if you're getting your ass kicked in chess, it's like, okay, I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm down 10 points. Still got to make the best move because that's still my best move. And if you focus on the best move, you keep making the best moves, you eventually works out well for you.
I love that. The best move that you can do is the best move that you could do right now. And then I love that, man. In business, I'm gonna apply that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, no.
That's gonna be one of my biggest takeaways right away. Because sometimes we think about, man, what is that I gotta do? The best move. Think
Right.
about the best move that you could do. I love that. Eric, quantum spirituality is a fascinating topic, right? You know a lot about that. How do you integrate into your business the approach to technology and business using the quantum spirituality?
Yeah, so the thing of the quantum spirituality, just I made a term I find it funny, is that it makes it understandable. Because when people think of spirituality, they think of like, like the woo, where it's like, oh, some hippie is like meditating in the forest all day, not doing anything. He's just going om. But the quantum spirituality adds like a scientific backing to that. And if you compare that with people who are successful, who people actually listen to, it creates a practice that people can actually follow. So again, it's basically the core of the business. Like everything is centered around that. It helps me with the mindset of anything is possible because anything is possible. If I want to be a certain person, like for example, like I wanted to be president of ShopX. How do you become president of ShopX? You just realize you're already it, and then you start acting that way. And then you start acting that way, it eventually works out for you that way. So again, like, and I believe in lifelines too, where it's like I think there's infinite number of realities happening. If I make a negative choice, it'll send me on a different lifeline. If I make a positive choice, it'll send me on a positive lifeline. So I always strive. I'm like, okay, I'm always going to make the best move. It'll send me on a different lifeline, and that slowly increases over and over again. And the strongest thing is the last thing I can give with that is intention, where it's like if you set like a strong enough intentional anchor, what happens is all the infinite possibilities collapse into this one universe because you set your intention. You put your attention on this future. So for Shopex and Dotting, the Dotting intention is going to be 1 billion users that we're going to get on that app. So if that's a strong enough intention, enough people believe it with enough force, because thoughts, like no thing has ever manifested in the physical world that had manifested in the thought world. So like thoughts have actual literal weight. So that thought is out there. It's a strong thought. How we're going to reach that 1 billion users, we don't know. We figure it out in the meantime. We make the best possible move over and over again. We get on the right lifeline over and over again, and we eventually hit that goal.
I love that. So would it be fair to say you mentioned the example, okay, if you want to become the CEO or vice president or the company that you're working with, just start acting like that right now.
Correct. Like, yes,
Like
if you
you're
want,
already either the CEO or the vice president. At that point, are we creating what we doing, right? And literally like pulling time forward? Is that what's happening?
so I think of time as a spiral. So like I think it's everything's happening all at once. But yeah, so what's happening is you're setting an intention in the world and you're just collapsing realities into this one. Like for example, let's say you're a mid-level employee and everyone's equal, but like and you focus your attention on being the CEO, you'll eventually make the moves to become the CEO. Because if you're acting like the CEO, you will eventually become the CEO. If you do it with strong enough intention and you're close enough and you're long enough, like obviously the longer the goal, like the harder the goal, the longer it takes. So the longer you have to keep your intention going. But at the same time, if you focus on like well, I'm a janitor, then you end up being the janitor. And the thing about energy is the universe doesn't care about the content of, it doesn't care about the like the emotion attached. The thought it cares about the content. So for example, if you're thinking, let's use rich, for example, like if I think I'm going to be rich, and the way to think about it is like, it's not like I really want to be rich. I really need to be rich because that's a need. That's putting off lack. It's like, okay, I'm going to be rich because it's natural for me to be rich. I'm going to act as a rich person who gets rich by adding value. You'll eventually become rich. You'll figure it out. But if you also act like, I don't want to be poor, you're saying, I don't want to be poor, but the universe here is poor. You'll eventually be poor because you'll be making moves out of scarcity, and then you'll become poor that way.
Wow. Wow.
No, like your thoughts are really, and your thoughts are really the most powerful. Your thoughts are really one of the most powerful things. It's like a double-edged sword. It can aid you like very well. But it can also hurt you very well. Like imagine like, because if your thoughts are creating reality and most of your actions are driven by your subconscious, whether you know it or not. And most people have been trained to be negative. So if they're trained to be negative, they're creating that reality for themselves, which is partly why like negativity is being pushed so much on social media. Like if you think about like people are most controlled between the levels of 100 and 200. So that's like fear, anger, hate, those levels. So if you're in a powerful position when you control the population, how do you make them controllable? You push those types of content, and then they're easy to control. Like look at COVID. They push fear, pretty much absolute control. You want to control, and like the same with anger too. Like we're in wars all the time. Why is it be constantly reported? We're like, why is only negativity being reported when 95% of the people are generally good people just trying to live their lives and down to help people?
Mm. So the mind is something very powerful, right? And the thoughts are also very powerful. What recommendations you can share to be very aware of your thoughts and just stay thinking positive and creating almost 24 hours in the day? Because even when we're sleeping, you
Yeah.
know, our brain is going. So what would be some of the things that you can share to stay aware? Like stay aware and make sure that you're thinking positive and creating what you want.
You know, and so a cool thing I did recently in meditation, I learned to program my dreams. So like a third of my dreams are lucid. So I use that as a way to leverage because I have a big winning dream. I'll wake up in the winning mood and then I win my day. The biggest thing you can do, and it takes a lot of work, like it takes a lot of time, a lot of work, is meditation. So if you think of meditation as like think of you have an email, your mind is your email inbox for your life. Everything that happens in your life, it's a different email, whether you realize it or not. So imagine you haven't opened your business email for like 5 years. It's a lot of emails. It's going to overload.
Billions.
Yeah, billions. And you're just like, what am I supposed to do? It's too much emails. So with meditation, you're sitting calmly, you're addressing each email one by one over and over again. And when you first start seriously meditating, it gets hard because like most people haven't sat still for like 10 minutes and there's so many thoughts different come up. But eventually, as your mind gets clearer, your email inbox gets clearer and clearer, you become calmer, you become more just like in the present moment, and then you can make the best decision possible. And so the Vipassana meditation retreat I did, it was the method that the Buddha used to reach enlightenment. It's 10 full days of noble silence. So it's like 10 days of hard work. The first 3 days, you focus on the area around your nostril. You pick up different sensations there just because you're different attention. And then you run that attention over and over again, back and forth, every inch of your body. And what this does, it extracts the traumas you've stored in your body throughout your whole lifetime. So if you're a NASA scientist, you have to send a piece of metal into space, like in a rocket, you need 100% pure. You run it through magnets. Those magnets extract the impurities. So you're extracting those impurities, you're extracting that at a spiritual level, and you're extracting your negativity. So eventually, once you extract enough negativity, because most people have a bunch of stored of negativity through their whole lives, whether they realize it or not, like think of like anyone, like they've been on social media for 20 years and just bombarded with negativity. Their dopamine sensors are fried too from just like all the extra stimulation. Their nervous system's fried too. So like it's not anyone's fault, but like once you extract enough negativity, you switch from being a negativity generator to a positivity generator. And once people become positivity generators, they bring up other people and they bring up other people, creating that nice little spiral. So meditation is the best thing for you. I get that it's hard. So if you want training rules, I recommend binaural beats. You can YouTube binaural beats. They're just a very pleasant frequency. It puts your brain in a certain state so you can like relax, heal, that type of thing. And it just makes it easy. So yeah, just try like a 5 minute sit there and see if you like it. The best times to meditate are right when you wake up, because from the spiritual woo side, that's when you have more access to the spiritual world. But from the scientific side, that's when your brain is more flooded with melatonin, so it works and you can jump in because when you sleep, your brain is at a different brainwave than when you're awake. So your brain is at a different brainwave right when you wake up, so that's a better time to meditate for that reason. So that's your intention for the day. And Obviously, I'm not perfect with the nighttime stuff because I do have a social life. I hang with friends and stuff. So like, I'm not going to meditate every day before nighttime, but if I can, I like to get a meditation in, and it's easier during the week because I'm pretty disciplined during the week. I like to get a meditation in right before I sleep because that's what sets my intention. That's to answer your question. That's what'll help you have good dreams and stuff. Like, imagine like think about like the content you consume right before you sleep. A lot of times it's like oh, like a lot of times it's scary movie, like, and like for a lot of guys, like now it's honestly like porn. So like it's just programming your mind with just complete garbage or TikTok or something garbage. But if you declutter your mind before you sleep and think positive thoughts, set an intention, you have cool dreams and stuff, and they're always good dreams, which is nice.
I love that, man. Binaural beats. I'm gonna check that out, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah,
my.
just check it on YouTube. It's you just no, they're really pleasant, dude. You just like put your earphones in, you can sit, like you'll see a bunch of playlists.
I love it.
And again, it goes back to the frequency thing. So what it is, it's two different frequencies and different you have to use headphones. So
Yeah.
frequency A, yeah, so like it forces your brain to hit a certain one. It feels good. Yeah, give it a shot.
Interesting. Eric, what is next for you, man? What's the next steps in your entrepreneurship life?
Yeah, we're taking it day by day. I think Shopex is gonna do really well, especially with the crypto bull market. So we're perfectly positioned for that in RWA. So like that's gonna go well. Dotting is getting some major steam just because honestly it's a really good idea. So we have some major backing. I think that's gonna go well as well. And then from there we'll see. Like I haven't thought too far about it like because I'm at this point in career like I'm just attracting opportunities. I'm attracting the right people. So if I like something will come up in the future, like dotting just came up, something will come up, and if I'm gonna accept it, it's my choice.
I love that. I love that, Eric. Since we're coming to closing in the to the end to the podcast, what recommendation you would give to somebody out there that is either like thinking about either starting a business or they want to start getting more awareness? Like from everything that we talked about today, what would be a recommendation that you give to somebody?
Yeah, so the easiest and most obvious, so starting a business, if you think about starting a business, just start. Because once you start, once you start walking the path reveals itself. So let's say you have a business idea, it's like, okay, I want to start this cool e-com business. I want to start this coaching business, but you haven't done anything. I don't know, go on Google Drive, create a Google Drive folder, label it your business, create the different folders for different departments. And be like, okay, I have a marketing folder. What goes in marketing? Well, I need a social media folder. That makes sense. Okay, I have a social media folder. I should probably just make the social media accounts and then you just kind of work on it daily and work on it consistently because if you work on it consistently, it eventually bears fruits. In terms of spirituality, just when you're okay, because this ties to business too, because obviously I think karma is 100% a real thing. So money is neutral. If you make money in a good way, that's great. If you make money by adding a lot of value to a lot of people's lives and you become rich, fantastic. But if you make money in a negative way, then it's bad because it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So when you are building a business, you're a conscious creator, whether you know it or not. So just don't take anything away from anyone and don't harm anyone. You should be chill.
I love that. I love that. Eric, if anybody wants to connect with you, I don't know, jump in a call with you or send you an email or even, I don't know, a discovery call or a partnership, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so if you're interested in the Web3 e-commerce platform, it'd be shopx.co, shopx.co. If you're interested in AI-powered matchmaking, it'd be dating.io. But if you want to connect with me personally, my Instagram, Eric, ERICDMCHUGH is the best way to go.
I love that, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Eric, thank you so much for your time, knowledge, expertise. I'd like to close the podcast with a quote. Is that okay with you?
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
From page 9 to 85, you pick a number.
44.
44. I love it. Repeated numbers. Is there a purpose behind you choose 44?
Angel numbers, it's just what came to me.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, this is good. Real power only comes from repeating actions.
And we just touched on consistency, so
Yeah.
and habits and thought patterns. So that makes sense.
We thought about that the entire podcast. So
Yeah.
we didn't plan this, by the way. You chose that number. Eric, Thank you again for your time, knowledge, expertise. It's been a pleasure. Everybody out there, keep working in becoming the best version of yourself. Be aware Everything is possible. You are the one in charge. Eric, thank you again. Wishing you the best of success, health, wealth, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yes, sir.